Okay, good evening, everybody. I guess I have to say also bonsoir. I want to welcome all of you for this very special event. As you know, this event is to present to Professor Aris Rosakis, the Commandeur de l'Ordre des Palmes Académiques. How is my French, Mr. Counsel? Is it good? I just want to make sure. So this is a great honor and to be described a little bit later. So I just want to welcome all of you here. I want to welcome the French delegation, is here both from France as well from the consulate, as well as from Washington, D.C. As you know, there is a very extensive collaboration between the French Space Agency and JPL, the L'École Polytechnique in Paris, and Caltech. So this is a perfect forum for us to sit down and celebrate both the honors that Aris has and also what Aris has done in bringing all these institutions to work together as a team. So now, without spending too much time, I want to introduce Provost and the Interim President at Caltech, Dr. Ed Stoper, to say a few words.
Thank you, Charles. It's a pleasure to be here and to participate in celebrating with Aris, who's a close friend. In 2004, I've always known Aris a little bit, but I didn't know him all that well. Actually, we have some common scientific interests. But I had been chairman of the Division of Geological and Planetary Sciences for 9 years, or 9+ years. And then the provost left suddenly. And since I was the senior division chair, I had to become interim provost. Those of you, it seems a theme in my life, and when you do these interim jobs, you have to decide things that you have to do and things you can leave aside and things you ought to leave aside because the next person has to do it. And one of the things that had to be done was to appoint a new director of GALCET, the Graduate Aeronautic Labs at Caltech. And I won't waste everybody's time, but GALCET is one of the great institutions at Caltech. It goes back to our very founding, and it's been an engine of excellence and an engine of industry in Southern California, because it's played such an important role in the founding of the aerospace industry here in Southern California. And despite that proud history and my very high opinion of it, GALCET was on, I don't want to insult anybody, it was sort of in hard times. I'm not sure exactly why, I can't remember, it's a long time ago. But there was a real issue. Maybe GALCET had run its course. Maybe it was a great thing from the 20s through 2001 or something, but maybe it was time to move on. And the division chair, who was Richard Murray, and I decided that there was really only one possibility to try to revive GALCET, and that was Aris. And it was actually a pretty difficult job to convince him. I remember he had an office on the ground floor of, it was Firestone, big, gigantic desk. It probably belonged to somebody else once, like Von Karman. What? Okay, so convinced him, and then he agreed to do it, and I stopped being acting provost. So I never knew what happened. Then I became real provost in 2007 with no, I really didn't pay attention for the intervening 3 years. It was, I was sort of tired of doing administration. And so I had to catch up. But I said, well, what's going on with the GALCIT? I assume it's still a disaster. And no, GALCIT was in great shape. This is only 3 years later. GALCIT had turned around. It had made great appointments. It had established a new program in aerospace. Part of the vision was to connect GALCIT and Caltech to JPL in an educational program in aerospace, to the degree that under Aris's leadership, it changed from the graduate aeronautics laboratories at Caltech to the graduate aerospace laboratories at Caltech. So a whole new emphasis, bunch of new appointments. The program that we're so interested in tonight, the partnership with École Polytechnique and with France, this was something that was developed. So this is a dynamic leader, an outstanding scientist. He turned this thing around, he turned GALCIT around. At least that was the viewpoint that I had. And so then a couple of years ago, we needed a new division chair, and there was only one choice then to ask to lead the division. And that was Aris. I can't remember if it was difficult to recruit him, how much I had to lie or promise him. But I reminded him we had done this once before, and it worked out okay. And it has just been a pleasure. He is a dynamic leader. He has vision. Will try new things. He's great at recruiting people. You know, sometimes, I think it was in the last couple of months, we had 2 people that we wanted to recruit, truly outstanding. And he made them an offer, and he said, it expires tomorrow. All right. Actually, the offer for a professorship was available for longer, but there was a cash deal that expired tomorrow. And I said, geez, you know, you sure you want to do this? He said, yeah, I'm going to do this. They both accepted. All right. He knows what he's doing. And so it's a great pleasure. He's an outstanding scientist. I say we share some interests. He's a great visionary leader. He's made a difference in GALCIT. He's made a difference in the division as a whole. And he's made a difference in the Institute, bringing his perspectives to bear. So I think that's all I want to cover. Let's offer him a toast. But there's something else. Today is his birthday. And I've already said happy birthday. We had lunch today. But we can all, I'm not going to lead us in singing. Maybe somebody else can do that later. But we should toast him. Congratulations for this outstanding honor, well-deserved honor and recognition for the things you've done to bring Caltech and JPL closer together, to generate a program in space. And the connection with the French that you've developed and nurtured is very strong. So congratulations, Aris, and happy birthday. Charles told me to say bon appetit. I could actually do this in French, but I won't. I took French from 3rd grade through 12th grade, and at one time I was actually quite good at it. By the time I reached 12th grade, I have to say there were 4 girls in the class and me. So I had to read all the parts. Anyway, have a great dinner, and then more stuff will happen after.
Good evening. Well, first, I hope you all enjoyed that very delightful dinner. And I forgot to mention earlier that this room was completely remodeled this summer. I'm not sure if it was remodeled for Ara's purpose to prepare it for his event or what. But this is, I think, the first dinner occurring in this room after the remodeling. Before I introduce the Consul General, I would like to acknowledge 4 people from the French delegation who are here. First, we have Sylvie Calary, who's sitting on this table. Sylvie is in charge of the international relation at the CNES headquarters in Paris. So when I need something from CNES, she's the first person I usually contact. And we have Philippe Hazan, who is here from the French embassy in Washington. And Philippe is our contact, in the embassy. Then we have Pascal Ultré-Gérard. Pascal is sitting here in the front. And Pascal is in charge of the Earth Science program. And that's a major program where we have collaboration between JPL and the French Space Agency. We have had that collaboration now for, 30 years before Pascal was born, I think. And finally, we have Mireille Paulin, who's sitting in the back there. She is from Toulouse, from CNES in Toulouse, which is the center, kind of the equivalent of JPL in the French Space Agency. So I want to thank all of you for coming and joining us. Now, the person who's going to be running the show after me is the Consul General of France in Los Angeles, Monsieur Axel Cruot. Axel was born in Nantes, in the western part of France, for the people who don't know their geography. And basically, he spent, after he got his degree at the École d'Administration, which is a major school for training politicians and administrators in France, he spent all his career in the French Foreign Affairs, office, or the Foreign Affairs Corps, and he has spent some time in China in Peking, some time in the United Nations as a French delegation, and since a year ago, he has been the French consul here at JPL. So please join me in welcoming Monsieur Gruon.
Thank you so much. Madame la Consul Générale, chère Elisabeth, cher Président par intérim, cher Professeur Elachi, cher Professeur Rosakis, chère Madame Iona Dimitrokopoulou Rosakis, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for the French, will be in English now. I'm very honored and very pleased to be with you today to present the insignia of Commandeur dans l'ordre des Palmes académiques to Professor Ares Rosakis. I would like to particularly thank Professor Stolper and Elachi for hosting the ceremony in such a distinguished and renovated location, and it's very admirable. I would also like to convey Mr. Jean-Yves Le Gall's, the president of CNES, the French Space Agency, deepest regrets not to be able to be with us tonight, because he was requested by the president of France, François Hollande, to be in a meeting right this day, this morning. He's now en route flying to Los Angeles, and he will be in Caltech and GPL tomorrow with you. And I know we will thank you, Ares, and give you the diploma personally, because he really wants to commend you for all your achievements. Because, dear Professor Rosakis, your academic career and the way you conduct your research are remarkable. And you are playing, and I hope you will be playing in the future, a tremendous role in fostering strong scientific collaboration between France and the United States. Your career is truly impressive. You joined the Caltech community as an assistant professor in 1982 and became a full professor in 1993. You were, among other functions, the 5th director of CalCit between 2004 and 2009, as we learned in introduction. And in 2011, you were awarded the position of Theodor von Karman, Professor of Aeronautics and Professor of Mechanical Engineering. This year, you were honored as the inaugural recipient of the Otis Booth Leadership Chair, Division of Engineering and Applied Science. You preside over the largest of the 6 academic divisions of Caltech, with more than a third of the Institute's faculty and 40% of the entire student and postdoctoral fellow population. The Engineering and Applied Science Division, as you all know, is an elite organization that is highly ranked not only in the US but internationally. And your multiple and once again impressive achievements have been duly recognized by your peers from numerous awards, from the 1989 Rudolph Kingslake Medal and Prize from the International Society of Optical Engineering, to your election as a member of the European Academy of Science and Arts in 2013. But beyond the awards, I think that the words of your friends and colleagues are much more impressive, and they're much more impressive homage. They describe a man with boundless energy and drive, a man creative and passionate, and open to new ideas and willing to defend those ideas and to challenge them, to take risks intellectually and personally, and to bring people together to do those things and to pursue those new ideas and projects. And I think we all here tonight can share in that description. But tonight, we're not only here to award a professor, l'homme de science, we're also here to thank a man, I would say l'honnête homme. And for me, that's much more important, because for you, dear RS, you have this double culture, and you work very hard for this Europe-US relationship. And I think you have understood that in the world of today, and much more in the world of tomorrow, we need to build those bridges, not only between countries, but also between continents and between cultures. And we need to have those bridges and to make sure that the seeds of science that you sow have this cross-fertilization of ideas to grow and to bear fruits. And I'm under the impression that you have, with this relentless energy and enthusiasm, worked and succeeding in putting your whole life under this sign of double culture and exchange from very early on. As a student, you were a student in Oxford, and then you went to Brown, an American university, to get your PhD and to obtain it. Brown, and you know, this university is close to my heart and close to other distinguished guests here tonight. As then an international academic, you have delivered lectures at major research centers worldwide and are very active not only nationally but internationally in various committees. And you, in France, in 2005, you were a visiting professor at the Département Terre, Atmosphère, Océan at the École Normale Supérieure in Paris. Now, as a man, you demonstrate how important it is to keep strong roots, strong links with one culture, and strong ties with special places. And for you, I understand it's a very small island in the Cyclades area, Serifos, the island where Perseus was drowned upon the shore and came back with a Gorgona to stone his enemies. And I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, I'm sorry I'm not Greek, but I like my mythology.